Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of last month's meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, changes at all? Hearing none, I'll call the question. We have to do a roll call. Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Here.
And the chair votes yes. All right, so with that, we're going to welcome Tom, and he's going to make his predictions for the basketball team for this winter. We're all assuming another state championship is in line.
I'm extremely optimistic always, but I don't know this year.
I assume Judy probably gave you a sense as to why we invited you here to talk about this McCann bequest we received. So I thought we would just jump into that. Let me try to give an overview, and then Peter or Dana can add to it, and then we'll try to answer your questions. So Tommy McCann was a Portsmouth resident who passed away almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. And in his will, he left what we in the law is considered or labeled the rest, residue, and remainder of his estate, which meant that after giving certain specific monetary bequests to individuals, he gave the balance of his estate to the trustees of trust fund, specifically trustees of trust funds to be distributed free of any trust by the probate court and held by the trustees to be used by them and at their discretion to support the athletic programs at Portsmouth High School. In carrying out these instructions, it is my request that the trustees consider using these funds to maximize athletic opportunities for underprivileged students who might otherwise not be able to participate in sports. We're happy to provide you with a copy of this if you like.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
It's that language is on page 2, section D. So as it turns out, that rest, residue, and remainder was about $135,000. We received it in September. It has now been included in our investments, and this bequest is a little different than some of the ones that or most of the ones that we administer, which are in the nature of scholarship funds, because those are sums that go directly to students who are the recipients are chosen by the high school, the guidance counselor, teachers, principals. And so we've reviewed this, and we've interpreted this to suggest that these funds should be used not as part of the general operating budget for the athletic department, but specifically to assist those any underprivileged students who, for whatever reason, can't fully, afford or participate in athletics at the high school.
Okay.
And we're given that discretion under the terms of the will. And so one of the reasons we wanted to invite you in was to let you know about this, answer any questions you have about it, and then discuss what type of mechanism or procedure we would want to use if you thought that you had some students who would be benefited by this.
Sure.
Any corrections or comments on that summary?
No, that summary's fine, but Judy, where is the money today?
The money today is in the investment funds.
With TD? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, I don't know if we don't have any other funds right now that are like this. I don't know if there has been any in the past that you might have been aware of, but are kind of my question, and Dana and Peter can add to their own, is are there programs right now as part of the athletic department that maybe because they require a student activity fee or something like that, some students are unable to participate in?
At this time, no. We don't have any, anything that's required, if kids had to pay for equipment or something like that and couldn't pay for it, we would find the money for it. But as far as most of the athletics that programs that we have right now, there's no pay-to-play or user fee for any of the student athletes. So we're kind of going into that issue right now with skiing. Our ski team is really starting to evolve and grow, and we've won a few championships now. Where that started, I think, off maybe 8 years ago, 7 years ago, where we had won. We had 2 student athletes that piggybacked with St. Thomas, but they had to represent Portsmouth, and then that's become now where we have, I think, 28 kids pre-registered for the sport this year, which is crazy. So the coach was looking for more opportunities to be on the mountain. So, he's looking at Tuesday. So this is just for instance. This is
No.
But like Tuesday, Thursday after school, they were going to use Gunstock. He suggested, is there a way for us to ask parents to have their kids get ski passes at Gunstock, so the fee we wouldn't have to pay, because right now we don't have that in our budget,
Right.
as this ski team has grown. And we said, no, we can't, we're not going to require anybody to pay. However, a lot of the kids on the ski team aren't necessarily, I might say, they're not underprivileged. I'm pretty
Right.
sure if they're at that point on a ski racing team, that means they've been skiing their whole lives. So I was a hockey parent, same thing. If somebody told me, am I taped right now? Dana's going to catch me on this one. But if they would have told me that I would pay for my kid to play hockey at the high school, I wouldn't have batted an eye just because of what I paid for the ice time through the youth leagues. Do you guys mind if I just go back just a second? I know that we don't run timed or anything.
No.
I've been here 30 years. I know the name Tommy McCann, but can I just get a little history on him? Or does anybody,
It's
the family, or, are they local now, or anybody?
His nickname was Mucka McCann.
Yeah, I've heard stories before, so that's why this is incredible.
this is.
But I'm just trying to.
You remember, you've been here long enough. There was a McCann in the police department,
Yeah.
which would have been father of this guy. And I went to school with
There's a photo
a
of-
mucker,
Okay.
but the picture doesn't look like the same one that I remember.
Oh, I've seen this guy around. Oh. I just think that's incredible that, he's leaving that for the athletic programs. I guess I'm curious as to how this works. Like, is it set up where, say, for instance, we have 20 football players that need new equipment that may not have the funds, their parents, families may not, to help them. Oh, actually, maybe football's hard because we do order all that equipment too. Yeah, we
Let me-
fundraise for everybody. Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and I guess we should have given you a little more warning about this, but the one closest example I can think of is we do have a fund which was established to support the Portsmouth High School band when it makes trips.
Okay.
And so we basically, because it isn't really a large fund, excuse me, we only distribute it about every 3 years or so.
Right, they go to Florida for the.
And it's meant to
Okay.
assist those students who cannot make the trip. I think it's helped underwrite the entire trip, but, so, is there anything in the athletic department? What I hear you say is that if we take on the sport, we take on the cost. That's basically the school.
Right.
And so are there supplemental things that any of the sports teams or programs?
Well, I
How
would,
about unified?
Unified, kind of the same thing where, we do get monies from New Hampshire Special Olympics as well as what we have budgeted for it, but that's low cost as far as supplies that we need.
Because that's something that, I think the program's great.
It's one of the best we have.
Yeah, and, if that gets into trouble, I mean, I would say that that's certainly helping a youngster who otherwise wouldn't be able to participate in sports.
Right.
I don't know what the unified program is.
It's kids that are at our school, student athletes with different disabilities. They partner up with student athletes to create a unified team and then compete against other schools. And we do soccer, basketball, and we actually play track, but they have volleyball as well. It started probably 8 or 9 years ago, right? We started with just basketball, and it's definitely one of the best programs that we have. I mean, as far as, he's not going to yell at the referees if he goes to the games, or say that kid was traveling, or, stuff like that. So everybody's in that audience that's supportive for all the teams. It's almost what the essence of what you'd want high school sports to be, where there's a competition still. The integrity of the game is there. However, everybody eases back and just enjoys the athletes scoring and or playing defense or passing or just making one minor success or a little small success for them is a huge accomplishment, and it's just a great sport. And
Yep.
so then we moved into soccer, and I mean, I would think, as when I did hear about this, and I was like, if there's a need, I think Dana could help me out there as well, because he used to coach for us. He's still our best coach ever at Portsmouth High School. I don't think he heard me, but no, I don't think he did. But our transportation right now is, we used to be merged with the recreation department, where we were able to access a 14-passenger van, which we've never, which we can't use in the school department. So the rec, when we kind of split and we broke up our marriage a couple of years ago, we lost facilities, equipment, transportation, staff. So it kind of went that way, and we went our separate ways. And there's many ways why I think that it was a good move, but what we've seen now is that our small teams, for instance, when Dana coached tennis, or our golf teams, or if we were just taking our varsity team, so we didn't have to take them out of school at 2 o'clock for a triple header at Londonderry to have all 3 teams on a bus. We would take the last team, so they'd go to school the whole time and leave that way. The opportunities for that, something like that, would be used so much more, I think, throughout, where we could take kids in the summertime to a clinic up at UNH that maybe couldn't go. For instance, or different things, and it would be you could use it, 365 days a year. Right now, we don't have that opportunity, so with the shortage of bus drivers, which is a huge problem, actually not only in Portsmouth, but in the state, where you see games are getting canceled at the 4 o'clock games, usually the earlier games, because they can't get buses because they're still driving the kids home. That makes it a huge disadvantage for almost everybody. But when we lost that transportation, for instance, our golf team went up to the States in mid-October. I was up in, oh my God, River Ridge Country Club up near Center Harbor.
Yeah.
So the parents had to drive the kids, or the kids could drive themselves, because we couldn't get a bus to get up there at 6:30 in the morning. A school bus couldn't take us and stay up there the whole day for a golf tournament, so because they didn't have enough drivers. So when I got to the parking lot, I was talking to a couple upset moms that were on the phone with me in the parking lot about, I can't believe that, we're not able to get a bus for this. And we actually had to get a coach bus for a few games because of that, because we didn't have transportation. And I looked around the parking lot and I said, I see one bus and one private school bus. St. Thomas had they have their own 25-passenger bus that they take for everything. And then there was one yellow school bus. The rest of the parking lot was filled with cars. So, fast forward 6 years ago, those were all school buses.
Sure.
And then a few cars. So,
Going back to when you're talking about the divorce, is there any way to resurrect that?
or to get it back together?
Well, the use of the 14-passenger van.
I thought it was, I was told that it was because it's under a different insurance as far as were the procedures of the insurance that we're not allowed to use it anymore. So we've used the Lister vans. The Lister Academy has a couple vans or something that the school's been able to use, but athletics we haven't. We have a 10-person golf team. We can't fit into one of those vans, and then with all the clubs, and same goes for the ski team, that they're not able to, so we'd have to get a school bus or not go. So,
What's the cost of a van?
I would say it's probably within the 65,000 range, 50 to 60,000. I don't know if that's new. I asked Todd, because they did just purchase a new one the beginning of the summer, so,
Who purchased the new one?
the recreation department.
Okay. But it sounds to me like, well, you can't find drivers anyways, so this sounds like it's a problem unrelated to underprivileged students. It's-
Well, this, if you had something like that in place and it was a you wouldn't need you can call it an activity van, you wouldn't need a CDL license. That means you can have coaches drive that, which is what they did in Londonderry this year, just to combat the transportation crisis that they have too. So they were able to have two vans. The coaches are the ones that drive it, so you don't have to hire bus drivers to drive those. And when we had the 14-passenger before, that was the city vehicle. That was as long as the coaches took a class, they were able to be allowed to drive students to games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you got a request in the capital improvement plan for new buses or vans or anything like that?
I don't at this time. I will. I don't at this time. We had bunch of other projects going on right now, so, and this transportation thing really hit, I think, as soon as COVID bounced out, you know. This year, it feels like more of a crunch than ever, because, like, for instance, if you talk to school department, they'll tell you that there's few bus drivers were poached in the beginning of the year by a different, you know, neighboring bus company because they're going to be offered more money. They get a signing bonus. They have no allegiance to Portsmouth High School, so, or Portsmouth School District. You know, they say, I could just drive up the road and make, you know, $5 more an hour and $2,500. I'm going to take that. So then all of a sudden you're out of drivers and you're looking for other transportation. You know, we roll up in a coach bus for a field hockey game because we had no other way to get in. And you know, it's. But I mean, that's as far as that's what I was confused about as far as how this is set up. Is it set up that if we needed a request, we would come to you and say that's how it works, or?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about at the outset, about having some type of a procedure or mechanism. So, yeah, so what I imagine is that, you know, you had something that would fit into this purpose, and then you'd come to us and, you know, to the extent that there was documents or anything that supported it,
Sure.
you send those in advance, and then we'd just have you come in and you'd say, this is what we're looking for, and this is why it fits.
Okay. I wasn't supposed to do that today, right?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, as I say, this is a new procedure for us, because normally we're administering the funds that we have, investing them and that type of thing. And then annually, with respect to scholarships, we determine how much money is available based on the performance of the funds. And then the decision as to who gets it goes to the school itself. So this is a little different.
Sure.
You know, I'm not sure what Dana and Peter think about that, but, you know, I'd have to think further whether something like that type of a van or would fit into this, because it seems to me that's a cost that's not limited to underprivileged.
Right.
You know, I was thinking, you know, if you had a baseball team and and your practice was to allow them to get down to the place in Seabrook to work out during the winter, but there was some cost, and you had to pass that along to the families, and some families didn't have it. To me, that would be a perfect example of what these funds would be established for.
Yep.
You know, I don't want to rule out anything, because it is a pretty wide open bequest.
Well, yeah, and if you read it, it is athletic opportunities for underprivileged students who might otherwise not be able to participate. That,
Right.
you know, what's the definition of underprivileged? Can't afford it? You know, I think there's.
You know, it could be as simple as, you know, the kids have to buy, you know, bring their own athletic equipment, you know, hockey sticks or baseball bats or whatever it is, and some families maybe just can't afford that, so that would be an example.
So then I would come to you and have a request with accompanied documents or something, say, this is what I'm looking to get, this is why. You know, I'll just go right there for the students that we had to pick up an extra cost for. So the Powerhouse trainers, you know, that Mike Montville owns that gym down there,
Right.
Now they come up and work in our gym with our students that couldn't afford it. So that could definitely be one of the things that I could come up with as far as, we've created a workout club for kids that are not on a sports team right now, but are interested in working out and getting healthy and getting in shape, that may not be able to afford a health club membership otherwise. So, I mean, that could be something that I could present to you guys that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, my reading is that if it's something that you offer or want to offer,
Right.
and there are students who, for financial or other reasons, just cannot avail themselves of it, then this is meant to help those students.
Okay. Yeah. That's
So we're
great.
not putting you on the spot to come up with something right now. But,
Right.
you know,
But this is nice to have something available.
This is incredible. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I would imagine as you develop your budget for next year, that you'll come up with things that this may fall into this, and
Sure.
come to us, and we'll see if we can help you.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. I mean, I'd love to get Dana coaching again, see if we can do that. Maybe some of this money's,
Back in. I get cut off, so I'm sorry I missed a little bit of the meeting, but I'm back. And cause I'm only going to coach if you promise to play tennis.
all right, sounds good.
That's a commitment.
No, this is, now I kind of feel like I know this a little better. When I first heard about it, I was kind of like, my mind has been racing as far as things, but, okay, yeah, I could definitely set this up, and, and I'll poll the coaches too and ask the coaches, as far as, I know for sure that, Coach Pafford and the football team goes to UNH football camp every year, and I know that there's kids that can't afford it, so,
That's exactly what we're talking about.
yeah.
Well,
so,
and you when Jimmy Mulvey was coaching,
yeah,
I mean, he would supply kids who couldn't afford,
absolutely, yeah. Sneakers,
suits and ties, because
yeah,
some families don't have that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
there are things that can be thought of that could help the kid.
Absolutely.
And so if you have an idea and you're just looking for some feedback, just contact Judy. She'll put you on the agenda.
Sure.
Or if you just want to circulate something to us, send it to her and she'll get it. And we can maybe even give you a response without you having to come in, so.
Is there an address to the McCann family I could write something to, or
I don't think,
or contact, if there is? Oh,
no, I think when he passed away, he was not married and had no children, so.
somehow to recognize, I mean.
Yeah, I don't think we have an address. We received these communications from the
Estate lawyer.
estate,
Okay.
for his-
Oh, okay.
the attorney
Yeah.
for his estate, so we could dig that up and give you to, you could reach out to that attorney and ask,
Sure,
who a thank you thing could go to if you wanted.
yeah. I mean, that's just an
There were a
amazing.
few people mentioned in the will that don't live around here, so.
Okay.
I'll send you the attorney's
Okay,
info.
yeah, that'd be great. I just love to write something, and we'll note.
Have tryouts started for basketball, Cos?
No, that all starts the Monday after Thanksgiving, so. Kids are in the gym, open court, anybody could show up, so. But as far as tryouts or teams, all that fun begins after Thanksgiving, so we get a couple weeks of relaxation, I guess you could say. Wrestling and swimming started today, so. those two sports start before everybody else, and then everybody, ice hockey, basketball, skiing, track, they all start after Thanksgiving. So we get to relax. A little.
Good.
But, no, how many times do you guys meet? Like,
Every month.
Once a month.
once a month? Okay.
I'll let you know, cause if you send something or want to send something, I can let you, just reach out to me, I can let you know what the schedule is. We usually know 3 or 4 meetings in advance what the dates are, so.
So I can see Dana once a month if I come every month?
Don't get too excited.
Oh, boy. This is a good day. No, this is really great.
Do all the kids on the bicycle team, I mean, do they bring their own bikes, or how's that work?
Yeah, the cycling club, they all have their, as far as I know, their own race bikes, similar to skiing, where they have their own equipment
Yeah.
already. So that's, I mean, as I said, I mean, I'll poll the coaches too and say, as far as if there's something that's standing out as far as a need from one of those coaches.
Right.
And like I said, the UNH football camp would be a classic, where I know that they fundraise because the kids can't afford to go there, but it's really beneficial, and the numbers, we try to get the numbers up as much as we can to go there. So, but that would be something. Wrestlers, cheerleaders. We have a ton of sports, so.
I'm sure if you check with your coaches, they'll all come up with some ideas to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the thing to do, though, is it can't be used to supplement school department responsibilities as far as funding.
Yeah. Yeah. So these would be the extras or the things that kids can't afford. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were trying to put together as many of the football players as you could to go to the UNH camp and the department, and they were going to request the parents to cover that cost. If the department was going to cover that cost, then I don't think you can just take these funds and deduct it from what the department would be paying.
Right.
But if the parents are going to, and there are certain kids who can't, that would be a classic example of, someone who is underprivileged not being able to participate.
Sure. Oh, that's great. All right. I guess I got to get to work. You guys got me working again. What do you, Dana, I do work. You know that. He's laughing over there.
I see you at all the basketball games.
Yeah. No, this is really fantastic opportunity, and I don't want to say I'm humbled, but I mean, my gosh, that's a lot of money to leave for for opportunities for kids. So I'm all about that. So
Great.
thanks for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, and happy Thanksgiving, Dana. I'll be there at 2.
All right, good.
All right,
Good to see you.
Yeah, good seeing you too.
so we're going to move on with our agenda. You don't have to stick around.
Okay.
if you don't
All right.
want.
Thanks.
Good to
a lot.
see you.
Yeah, good seeing you.
Thank you, Cos.
All right. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Dana,
You too.
You too.
Dana, we got like 3 minutes, so we'll probably have to kick off the other meeting. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Should I just wait till this stops?
Yeah, it'll kick us out, and then just grab the other link that I set up for the next meeting, and I'll let you right back in.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, next item on the agenda is the TD Wealth Management reports and Judy's little summary. So it's good to see we had another up month.
Yeah.
So this little notation in red here, that's the year over year. This is on the
the green
long
one?
bar chart.
Yes, yes. So from last October to this October, we're down 16% overall.
Right.
So that's that encompasses that year. And then the third page is from inception, which was April of '21.
Judy, is the Thomas McKeon funds we just talked about, are those allocated to the scholarship funds,
Endowment,
endowment? Okay.
yep. Dina, we're at the 1 minute mark, so I'm going to kick off the other meeting if that's okay with you.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I'll sign off here and go to the other one.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any comments or questions on the reports?
I will reach back out to John and Suzanne as well about the dashboard. Where are they at with seeing if they can get that done?
Yeah.
I will reach out.
You know, tell them, give them we would like it at before our next meeting.
Yep.
Since they send the reports out about 10 days before our meeting or something.
Correct.
Then that would be a good time to have it as part of
Okay.
that package.
Yep.
Any comments or questions, Peter?
No.
Dana?
No?
Okay.
I have 2 checks for signature. One is for the computer system. Here is the voided check that you signed last week because I made it out to the city of Portsmouth and then found out afterwards they want us to pay the vendor directly. So it's the same amount, voided check.
Okay.
Here's the new check to Dell. And then the other one is to Abila, which is for the financial system. This is the yearly annual renewal that we do every year for the financial software package. So these are the 2 checks that I have. Here's the void to show that I voided it. And then there's the new one. Okay. And that's Abila.
Dallas, Texas.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay. Any other financial stuff, Judy?
No, I just wanted to let you know that I'll be bringing forth a lot of the scholarship information because it's that time of year again, so I'll be putting that together. I know that everyone wanted to kind of review the process, so I'll put together the numbers that I have, and then you can discuss further and get comfortable with everything, and then probably do the final vote early in January for what we're going to distribute with the
Okay.
schools, if that's all right with you.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
I think we'll want to remind the guidance department
Right.
at the high school again that
Yep,
this notice goes out to all local schools.
yep. you know, I mean, would you like her to come back in, or no need of that?
I don't think
Everything's
so.
pretty much the
Yeah, I
same,
mean,
so I can remind her.
yeah, I just don't want it to get lost. I don't think we need to question her about it.
Yeah, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Any new business? Nobody from the public, so there's no public discussion. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Great, thank you.
You
All
okay?
right, thank you, guys.